Well, all the leaves are brown and the sky is gray. I don't know if I'm dreaming of California tonight, but that song kind of stuck in my head the other day when I saw all that. This time of the year, it's fall. It's Tuesday, and a lot of us folks are voting today, or have already voted in this year's November elections. I've been thinking about it. I wasn't able to get down to early voting due to working in another town. I just didn't really want to fool with it early, but we eased down there this evening to our local precinct, and wasn't a big line, and was able to take my son Jordan for his first time to vote, and that was kind of a cool deal for me anyway. And just got to thinking about this old oak and all that it actually means today. Had an acquaintance comment about I don't think it's prudent to necessarily disclose who you vote for. I think you should vote your conscience and who you support. And he'd made an insinuation about I must not be a free thinker, and that's all right. I can deal with that because I know better, and just not going to argue that point. That's not what it's about. I did think about three folks in history that came along after this oak did. You know, when this oak was planted, and we kind of marginally dated it, it started growing well before 1776, probably about 2 or 3 decades before. But when we became a country, I don't know that I'd been able to vote today. You had to be white, male, I got those two, and wealthy. Yep, that lets me out. So I wouldn't have got that privilege. And I was thinking about 3 different figures that really made a difference. One was Thomas Dorr from Rhode Island. I don't know if you'll know these figures or not. You can Google them later. But he was actually a man of privilege. But he lamented that the mass populace wasn't getting the vote. And he went through some pretty bold moves and put together a small revolt of sorts that kind of didn't go so well, but he was pardoned later. And it kind of ushered in the right for folks in the rural areas to vote. But it was still only men and still only white. And then there's Alice Paul. I guess it was around 1840s or so, up in Virginia. Her and a group of unlikely folks that would normally be in the jail had caused quite a commotion about women's suffrage and their ability to vote. And of course we know that eventually that came to pass. And then in the 60s, a man by the name of Ben Moses, I believe is his name, or Bob, I can't remember, from Mississippi, he took it on the chin literally, and kind of was trying to take him and a couple of folks, another black male or two, in to vote on a certain election, and got cut pretty bad, and suffered some violence. But again, we see the freedom that brought. And now, as an American citizen, the playing field is leveled in the voting community anyway, and you're able to go cast your vote. So it's a pretty high honor to do so. So I exercised my right today, and I hope y'all did too. And that's what this Democratic Republic is about, is having our voice. Even if you disagree with the other side, no need in shouting them down. Be thankful that we have that privilege to vote. So I think the polls are still open across the country. If you hadn't made it, hope you registered and go make yours count. Right? There's some folks that went through a lot of stuff to make that happen. Even our troops guarding our freedoms and liberty across the sea, for all of us to give our own voice to that. So kind of a cool day thinking about that. It is kind of ironic this old tree's been lightning hit this year and kind of falling on the ground, part of it, but it still lives on. Kind of symbolic in my mind to maybe kind of things around us in the political community and all of the rhetoric and craziness that we see from all sides. But it's just a piece. The main tree still stands, and if we nurture it and take care of it, it'll continue to grow and prosper and give us shade of liberty, won't it? All right, that's enough of politics tonight, I guess. But no, I just thought that was interesting. Those 3 figures have always stood out in their individual contributions and sacrifice, and we take it like it's no big deal and don't really understand how important each one of those votes is. It was kind of refreshing, to be honest, walking into that church at the polling place and looking at the table of volunteers, and I thanked them, as we all should. These volunteers don't get paid for that, and just trying to help the process. They were all ladies. 2 of them were black and 2 of them were white, and I just thought that was really, really cool to see how far we've come, regardless of what you think in our state of politics these days. Come a long way. A lot to be thankful for, and we're definitely a blessed nation still today. And Hudson's wanting to bark. Hudson didn't get the vote today. He forgot to register. But, oh well, he'll be all right. Mom is coming home tomorrow, so praise report on that. It's a good deal. She's still pretty ginger on her walking, has to have some assistance, but Dad says he needs her home and she needs to be home and back in her environment to where she can heal a little bit easier. So we're praying that transition goes well, and praying for his strength for sure. But anyway, Jordan didn't know what to think about that voting thing, but he come out and he had a big old smile on his face. So he got to cast his first vote this year. But either way it goes, we're still Americans, and we're still all one in unity if we choose to be. So that's what I choose anyway. I ain't gonna argue it. Just do the right thing every day, or try to. Sometimes it's harder than others. But y'all have a good evening, be the light, and hope the rest of your week goes well. I'm about to lose my light today. It looks like, isn't this weird? 5:30 Central Time, and sun's already gone. And chickens like it because they get fed a little earlier, or they think I'm not going to set the clock back out there. They don't even have a clock. Al don't even know when to crow anymore, poor thing. They're in their molting phase, so the eggs have stopped flowing for now, but that's part of the cycle. And now they get just free food and don't have to work so bad for a while. That's all right. We'll make it through winter all right. Let's see who all's on here this evening and checking off if I can get it figured out here. Look up here. Hey, Kimberly, how are you? My buddy Brad from around the Waco area is on. Hey, Alicia, how are you this evening? Patrice. And hey, sweetheart, there's Tanaya, my baby up in North Carolina. You can see her checking in. Better get back to work, girl. Kathy, how are you? My Aunt Pat. And Molly's watching. Let's see. There's Emily from Tennessee and Roxanne from Wisconsin. And hush, Hudson. That don't work. It just makes him louder. There's Manuel Rodriguez. How are you, sir? Mr. Gary. I think Gary's from Gunsight, Texas. If I remember, I may have that wrong, Gary. If I did, I'm sorry. Hello anyway. Yeah, I am too thankful for home sweet home. There's St. Louis, Missouri, checking in with Teresa and Cheryl. How are you? Taking a break? Okay. If you say. All right. Well, I better. It's darker here than what it looks like on the camera. See the street lights on. So, I guess if it's 30 years ago, I'd have to be hot-footing it to the house before Mom made last call on supper. Y'all have a good night and be the light and stop all the rhetoric. Let's be Americans. Go vote your conscience and then get back to the reality of life and love one another. Goodness gracious. No sense in all that. Right? All right. People died for that right. So let folks exercise it like they want to. Don't shout them down. It's all right. We're going to move on. Y'all be the light. Have a good night and we'll talk to you later.